Glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamuriraye Nasra Preshu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistehike. Today we are reading from Canto 9, Chapter 15, Parasurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation, Text 1 through 15. Text 1. Sukadev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, from the womb of Urvasi, 6 sons were generated by Purva. Their names were Ayu, Shrutayu, Satyayu, Raya, Vijaya, and Jaya. Text 2 and 3. The son of Shrutayu was Vasuman, the son of Satyayu, Shrutanjaya, the son of Raya, Eka, the son of Jaya, Amita, and the son of Vijaya, Bhima. The son of Bhima was Kanchana, the son of Kanchana was Hutraka, and the son of Hutraka was Janu, who drank all the water of the Ganges in one sip. Text 4. The son of Janu was Puru. The son of Puru was Balaka. The son of Balaka was Ajaka. And the son of Ajaka was Kusa. Kusa had 4 sons named Kusambu, Tanaya, Vasu, and Kusamnaba. The son of Kusambu was Gadi. Text 5 and 6. King Gadi had a daughter named Satyavati, whom a Brahmana sage named Risika requested from the king to be his wife. King Gadi, however, regarded Risika as an unfit husband for his daughter, and therefore he told the Brahmana, My dear sir, I belong to the dynasty of Kusa. Because we are aristocratic Kshatriyas, you have to give some dowry for my daughter. Therefore, bring at least 1,000 horses, each as brilliant as moonshine, and each having 1 black ear, whether right or left. Text 7. When King Gadi made this demand, the great sage Risika could understand the king's mind. Therefore, he went to the demigod Varuna and bought from him the 1,000 horses that Gadi had demanded. After delivering these horses, the sage married the king's beautiful daughter. Text 8. Thereafter, Risika Muni's wife and mother-in-law, each desiring a son, requested the Muni to prepare an oblation. Thus, Risika Muni prepared 1 oblation for his wife with a Brahmana mantra and another for his mother-in-law with a Kshatriya mantra. Then he went out to bathe. Text 9. Meanwhile, because Satyavati's mother thought that the oblation prepared for her daughter, Risika's wife, must be better, she asked her daughter for that oblation. Satyavati, therefore, gave her own oblation to her mother and ate her mother's oblation herself. Text 10. When the great sage Risika returned home after bathing and understood what had happened in his absence, he said to his wife Satyavati, You have done a great wrong. Your son will be a fierce Kshatriya, able to punish everyone, and your brother will be a learned scholar in spiritual science. Text 11. Satyavati, however, pacified Risika Muni with peaceful words and requested that a son not be like a fierce Kshatriya. Risika Muni replied, Then your grandson will be of Kshatriya spirit. Thus, Dagni was born as a son of Satyavati. Text 12 and 13. Satyavati later became the sacred river Kausiki to purify the entire world, and her son Jamad Agni married Renuka, the daughter of Renu. By the semen of Jamad Agni, many sons headed by Vasuman were born from the womb of Renuka. The youngest of them was named Rama or Parasurama. Text 14. Learned scholars accept the Parasurama as a celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva, who annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. Parasurama killed all the Kshatriyas on earth 21 times. Text 15. When the royal dynasty, being excessively proud because of the material modes of passion and ignorance, became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas, Parasurama killed them. Although their offenses was not very severe, he killed them to lessen the burden of the world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading the translations today. Hare Krishna, Sri Krishna Das Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Radharani Mataji. Thank you, Vidya Maharaj Mataji, for reading the translation today. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashamekam Purusham Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambadirtamaham Prapatye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girum yatkrupa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are seeing this new section where Lord Parsuram's pastimes are mentioned. So in the lineage, in this 15th chapter, so in the 14th chapter, we saw how the Pururuva king was enchanted by Urvasi, and then later on he desired to go to the planet and then perform sacrifices, karma kanda yagyas. So, and then Sukadeva Goswami says at the end that in the beginning of Treta Yuga, so Pururuva started this karma kanda sacrifice, and thus Pururuva he was able to go to the Gandharva Loka, so as he was desiring. So in this 15th chapter, we see there are several lineage from Mother Urvashi's lineage was mentioned. The sons from the womb of Urvashi, there were basically 6 sons who were born from Mother Urvashi. And then from them, the lineage of their sons, and then the son of Janu was Puru, and then like that there were several lineage, and finally we come to there was a king called Gadi. So he had a daughter named Satyavati, and then this daughter basically she was a Kshatriya. Like so generally the rule of the thumb normally in those days, a Kshatriya used to marry a Kshatriya woman used to marry a Kshatriya man. So they will not mix varnas generally, or if at all they have to, at least they will just go for a higher varna. So a Kshatriya woman can marry a Brahmana and not a Vaishya or Sudra. So they will not go to the lower varna. So that was the system. And so in this case, the king Gadi was a Kshatriya, and he was being requested by another Brahmana is requesting to give King Gadi's daughter Satyavati in marriage. So the king, understanding the the purpose, he was basically saying, instead of saying not possible, he was requesting a huge amount of dowry. So, um, so in those days there were also system. Even nowadays, some of the communities they do follow. So in order to marry a woman, they're supposed to give large amount of dowry before they actually marry. So in this case, he was requesting like 1,000 horses, very brilliant, with only having only 1 ear. either right or left ear. So imagine, basically his idea was to reject the proposal, but he was saying like that so that instead of insulting the Brahmana, he just wanted to give some condition. So this Muni was a powerful Brahmana, so he could understand the king's purpose. So because he had powerful in his sadhana, he was able to go to demigod Varuna. So he went to demigod Varuna, and then from him he brought exactly from 1,000 horses, which matched the criteria that king was said. It should have only one black ear. So, and then eventually the king also understood that the Brahmana was very, steady in his determination. So he married his daughter Satyavati to that Muni. So this started the mix of varnas between Brahmana and Kshatriya. So we can just see this is the beginning of how the Jamadagni and then the later on Lord Parshuram, how he manifested. This is the pastime that we are seeing. So, so we can see that in this, so in this marriage, the Brahmana sage, and then the Satyavati who is from a Kshatriya. So they both actually marry. So Richika Muni, the name of the sage was Richika Muni. Um, so and then later on, the king, the um, the sage married the Satyavati, and later on, it was mentioned that they were preparing some oblations. So Ruchika Muni was preparing some oblations with performing with the mantras. So understanding his mother-in-law was Kshatriya and his wife is now married to him. So she has to follow Brahmana etiquettes and Brahmana oblations. So he performs two different kinds of oblations. So, but then that mother-in-law thought that the oblation meant for his wife is supposed to be superior, and she mistakenly actually took that. So, so this basically the looks like the oblation has a different kind of qualities endowed in them. So naturally, when Satyavati took the oblation meant for Kshatriyas, and she was carrying that carrying that qualities. Eventually, the Muni predicted that one of her either sons or grandsons will be of Kshatriya spirit. So, so that was the understanding. And later on, the Richika, the sage Ruchika, when he understood, in his mind, he understood what happened, and he also predicted, okay, there is something great has happened. So he said, Gora Danda Dhara Putra. So he's just saying Gora means very fierce. Danda Dhara means one who can punish others. A Putra, a son, is going to be born. So that was his prediction. So, so this is one of the qualities of a Kshatriya, right? So Kshatriya is he cannot tolerate any injustices. He immediately the Kshatriya will get that such fierce anger that he will punish the miscreants no matter what. So the Brahmana on the other side, he will forgive. He will say, okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter. He will forgive. But on the other side, Kshatriya cannot forgive. He will punish the miscreants. So in this case, it was mentioned Gora Danda Dhara, like very fierce punishment is gonna give for such a son is gonna be born. So and so the sage also saying that whatever you have done is very regrettable. Patnim kashnam akarshiha akarsh karashihi. So a very regrettable thing that you have done. So now See, Brahmana's qualities and Kshatriya's qualities are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, right? So, Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Arjavam, Shaucham, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavajam. So, these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So, on the other side, if we see Kshatriya, Viryam, Tejam, and then giving charity, and so these are like the spirit of fighting. These are the qualities by which Kshatriyas work. So their qualities and Brahmana qualities, are completely different. So Kshatriyas, by nature, they have these qualities. So this nature is also like comes from the soul is pure, like when in the spiritual world, when the soul comes to this material world, it is pure. But then it just the example is given, when the seed falls from the tree, if it falls on a fertile ground, then it produces a nice plant. If it falls on a dry ground, then it doesn't produce a nice plant. So similarly, guna karma vibhagashaha. So the living entity, whenever he associates in the material world, he associates with particular nature. And because of the nature, he develops certain qualities, and these qualities can be different according to how he is associating. So in this case, we can see that the sage Richika Muni is now associating with Satyavati. So out of their combination, there is a son and lineage. So like that, because of anything we associate in the material world has some byproducts. So the byproducts can be either in the mode of goodness, or in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, or it can be a mixed modes, 50% goodness, 50% passion. Like that, there can be so many combinations of permutations that Lord has created, that 8,400,000 species of life. So each species have a certain type of passion, certain type of goodness, certain type of ignorance in it. So here, the Kshatriyas are predominantly passionate, so predominantly passionate, and they would be very fierce. So in the Bhagavad Gita says, Chatur Varnam Maya System Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So based on the qualities and based on the karma, so these four Varnas and four ashramas were created by Krishna. So so in this case, the qualities of Kshatriya are meant for is meant for protection, for the entire society. The Brahmanas need protection. The women and the elderly class, children, everybody needs protection, and the whole society needs to have a good government, so that the miscreants, if anybody is thieves and rogues, they have to be punished, so the society can be very peaceful. The Kshatriya is playing very, very important role. The Kshatriya is also very important, but in this case, the sage was concerned of uh, the mixing of the varnas, and then therefore it may not be pure. So that is what he was. So and then further, the pastime goes on. So Satyavati, basically, she prasaditaha Satyavatya. So she was pacifying the sage, saying that he won't be fierce. Um, I will promise that. Like that, she was pacifying. So, but then the sage mentioned that if your son may not be fierce, but your grandson may be very fierce. So that was the reply from the sage. So and then eventually, now the the Satyavati, the daughter, she gives birth to a son called Jamadagni. So and then from Jamadagni, there were in the womb of Renuka, there was a son named Rama was born. He was also called Parashurama. So he was carrying the Parashu, and he was also called the Parashurama. So Rama iti abhi vishrutaha. So he was known everywhere as Rama or Parashurama. So So now, so the Jamadagni was from Jamadagni, the son Rama. He was a Shakti Avesha avatar. He was incarnation of the Lord, and he was empowered by Vishnu's qualities. So, and also here also it is mentioned Yam Ahur Vasudevamsham. So Vasudeva Amsham. So he was incarnation of Lord Vasudeva. So uh, certain aspects of the Lord is endowed, and it is learned scholars. Many learned scholars basically understand this fact. So, and also it is mentioned Kula Antakam. So he was mentioned that it's 21 times he annihilated the entire Kshatriya dynasty. So basically, there were so Kshatriyas basically punish others, miscreants, but if Kshatriyas themselves are actually not ruling according to the ideal class, the ideal rules set in the Vedic scriptures and examples given by Brahmanas, then Parashuram taking up the Parashu, he annihilated the entire Kshatriya dynasty uh, 21 times. I mean, so you can imagine um, so many lineage of Kshatriyas were killed by Parashuram. So here it was mentioned that Druptam Shatram Bhuva Bharam. So Bharam means it's a burden. Basically, the earth was so much burdened by these kings, the royal kings. They were very proud. They were thinking they were very powerful. They have the government under their control. They're fully passionate. They don't really care for the citizens' welfare, and they were misusing their power for their own welfare. So king is supposed to be Naradeva, like he is a representative of the Lord. When he gives some punishment to somebody, it's not from his own perspective. It's just like the Lord is equal to everyone, the king is also equal to everyone. And sometimes in the kingdom there will be people coming from his own palace. Somebody must have done wrong. They will also come for judgment. The king is supposed to give judgment, without any bias. So, like that, the king is supposed to be very much caring for the citizens. But on the other side, these kings were very much passionate, and they were only caring for their own welfare and the luxury of life. So it's just like how Duryodhana was only caring that he was so passionate about being the king that he did not care about the welfare of the citizens. So even he could have avoided the great fight. Therefore, he could have avoided so many people getting died. But still, he thought he being a king is more important than anybody is welfare. So, so like that, so Lord Parshuram killed 21 times because these kings were not ruling according to the rules enacted by the Brahmanas. So they were so much passionate, carried over by passion and ignorance, they completely forgot their duty. So Falguni Apikrite Amhashi. So therefore, he killed them to lessen the burden of the world. So also it was mentioned that some of these offenses were not severe. So it is also mentioned here. So, but still, Parashuram being very, very fierce, he did not tolerate any of these offenses. So, but on the other side, we know that Brahmana is always one of the qualities is being titiksha. He tolerates inconveniences, offenses, but Kshatriya is not supposed to be like that. So we can see that how in the Srimad Bhagavatam also that it was mentioned that in the Kali Yuga the kings will be very much degraded. So Rajanya, like the kings, at the end of the Kali Yuga, it was said that Gachanna Girigananam. So the kings will be the people who rule. They will be putting so much taxes. Now we have like this 30% taxes. Imagine if we have like 80% taxes. So what will happen? Everybody will think, what is the use of earning? Let's just go away somewhere. So instead of earning everything and giving it to the rulers, why not just sit and then have a peaceful life? So that was the mentioned Srimad Bhagavatam. Gachanna Giri Gananam. So people will go to forests instead of maintaining themselves, hard work and giving everything to the taxes to the kingdom. They will just go to the forest. And also the kings, basically the rulers, will be no more than the plunderers, thieves. Just basically thieves steal your money. The rulers also, they just want to steal your money by putting more and more taxes. So, so like that, the monarchies have degraded so much. So at the time of Parshuram, it wasn't that severe, but nowadays it was degraded so much that Prabhupada says that eventually the monarchy was also gone. So now we don't have the monarchy, we have this democracy that every one in the society votes to select a particular president or a prime minister. So but then the monarchy had very important significance. If one person is ideal, then the whole world can actually can follow his rules and regulations. Then it can be a very ideal situation. But nowadays it's not possible because people have become so much greedy and so much irreligious, Naishtika philosophies. Hardly we see any of the prime minister or chief minister, they are very religious, right? So we see one or two examples, but hardly any people are very religious. So without being religious, without being God fearing, they cannot rule the kingdom. They themselves are basically irreligious. So how they will rule the kingdom? So the essence is there has to be a God conscious man, then there can be real happiness for the people. So in the previous times, there were all the kings were very God conscious. They used to call themselves the servant of the Lord, servant of. If you go to South India, Kerala, there was Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple. So where they found like many rooms filled with gold. There's so much gold that it can actually completely wipe off the depth of the Bharat Varsha. So the king who used to rule that place, he used to call himself Ananta Padmanabha Swami's servant, and then he used to rule that kingdom. So like that, every king was very religious and very pious, and by ruling like that, they were giving so much happiness to the people. So that was the number one quality for any ruler. He has to be a God conscious man who knows how to understand how to rule the kingdom by punishing the miscreants. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, it is said that Asham krutah kriyahina rajasya tama savrutaha prajaste vaksha ishyanti mlacha rajanya rupina. So this is in the 12th canto, second chapter, the verse number 7 and 8. It said that the kings being completely influenced by rajas and tamas, mode of ignorance and passion, and mlechas, like the mlechas who will pose themselves as the rulers, kingdom, rajanya rupina, just like they will appear themselves just like kings, but actually they are mlechas. They are very low, irreligious, and they have all kinds of bad qualities. They will take over the kingdom. Prajaste bhaksha. So they will take over the citizens. And it was mentioned that they will actually swallow the citizens. They will basically steal everything from the citizens. So that the example I was giving, basically they will put all kinds of rules and regulations to extract the hard work and labor from the citizens. So ideally there will be nothing left from in the citizens. So the human society, if you look at the Vedic culture, it was divided into 4 varnas, 4 ashramas, so that everything can be nicely arranged. So if the government recognizes that each of these varnas have supposed to support the entire society, then the ideal Kshatriyas, ideal Brahmanas, ideal Vaishyas, all of this is very important. So, if the Kshatriya class is completely ruined, then we can understand that. So, the whole situation is very, very pathetic. So, Parshuram, Lord Parshuram is a incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He is teaching us that how important is to maintain a pure Kshatriya class, to have peacefulness, we have happiness in the society. It's very, very important. So, otherwise, the what is mentioned, what is predicted in the Kali Yuga, Yashyanti, Gashyanti, Giri Gananam, everyone will be harassed by government and everyone will have to go to the forest. So in order to counteract the situation, what do we have to do? All the people have to be very religious and they have to select a religious man, a God fearing man as the leader of the society. So if the people are voting in the democracy, unless the people are religious, they are not going to select a pious man, right? So the people are supposed to be religious, and then they are supposed to elect a pious man and the leader of the society. So for that to happen, Kali Kale Namarupa Krishna Avatar. In the Kali Yuga, people can access the mercy of the Lord by His holy name. So they can chant this Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when the people become Krishna conscious and they understand the importance of being religious, being pious, then they understand, okay, I need a pious man to be on the throne so that everybody can be happy. So that is the whole how the whole situation can be counteracted. So nowadays we can see that either this party or that party, people say complain, but we have to choose the best out of bad bargain. Sometimes both of them are bad, but among them, whoever is going to give us a little bit of relief, we have to choose like that. Otherwise, if we ignore our right in the democracy, that is also going to basically backfire. So, a good government is so important that, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, the many kings examples are given only because of the good government. So, Krishna wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj not just to give Yudhishthira Maharaj a chance to enjoy the luxury of the life, not like that. He wanted the whole planet to be peaceful and happy. So Krishna is caring for the whole. So he is Yogakshemam Vahami Aham. So he wants everybody to be happy. So for that reason, he is making Yudhishthira Maharaj sit on the throne. So we can understand the Lord also wants the citizens to be peaceful and happy, and therefore, from our perspective, we should select a very pious man, very religious man as the king or the leader of the society. So, Hare Krishna, that concludes the verse number 15. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you all devotees for joining the class today. Hare Krishna.